Hello, Grumpy Old Fart here. For those of you who don't know, a few months ago, the U.S. Navy made an announcement that some photos and some gun camera footage that they got off of the planes from the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier, this photos and gun camera footage of UFOs was indeed genuine. So in essence, the U.S. Navy announced that UFOs are indeed real. So I've been going back and looking at some older UFO cases that people kind of scoffed at the time, or people, I don't know, that's kind of wonky. But now that the Navy has announced that they're real, we have to go back and look at them with an air of credibility, credulity, and maybe a different light, because maybe these people did see something. Maybe there's some oomph to it. The Navy has announced that UFOs are real, so now we're going to go back and look at them again. This video is about a topic that has been done, and redone, and redone, and oh my God, redone. This is probably the most investigated thing in the history of UFOs. And it's the Roswell Crash from 1947. I want to say it was July 1947. And I apologize, this is almost redundant. I actually wasn't going to do this, but people keep asking me about it, so here we go. Jump in with both feet and hang on. Everyone knows the story. There was the rancher named Mac Brazel was running some land. I don't recall if he owned it or not, but he was ranching the land, with sheep, and here in New Mexico, over by Roswell. And he's out one day, and he finds a bunch of debris scattered across, and he collects some of it up. And it's not like anything he's ever seen before, so he takes it in, and he claims it was from a UFO. And the news reported that it was from a UFO, a flying saucer, they call it, a flying disc, whatever. And so they called the military, and the military went out and investigated. This is broadly paraphrasing, and kind of giving you the short version. And the military went out and investigated, and Major Jesse Marcel actually issued a press release saying that it was a UFO, a flying disc, a flying saucer. Later on, the military recanted that and said it was a weather balloon. And later on, they added to that it was from a project called Operation Mogul. It was a weather balloon with some special stuff attached to it. And it gets high up in the atmosphere, and it's supposed to detect nuclear detonations from across the globe. They're trying to see if the Russians are developing new nuclear weapons, that kind of thing. That's basically the gist of it. And everybody who's all of the mainstream people are basically saying, well, it was a weather balloon, everybody knows it, blah 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 blah. Okay. The problem is the information has become so muddled that nobody knows exactly what did or didn't happen, what's true and what's not. Okay. There have been so many books written about it, and so many interviews, and so many witnesses come forward. I'm gonna give you the short version of what we know happened. This is what we know happened. We know something crashed. It was found by a rancher named Mac Brazel, and they originally said it was a UFO, and the military later changed it to a weather balloon from Operation Mogul. Now, witnesses have stated they were silenced, or threatened to maintain their silence, and that may or may not be, I don't know. A lot of them give the same story and give the same name of the guy who did it, so it's a possibility we can't discount. At first, they said there was a big electrical storm over the last, a day or two prior, or whatever, and that's what brought down the whatever the debris was came from something that crashed because of that storm. Whether it was a UFO or a weather balloon or a plane or whatever, we don't know. But originally it said it was a storm that caused this, and information later came out, and they said, well, it might have been this new radar system we're developing that it interfered with everything, and boom, everything came down. So we don't know. Again, there's so much information out there. It's literally saturated with opposing viewpoints, so you really can't tell what's real and what's not. That's the bad part about this. Now, let's get on to some new stuff here. Years ago, when the event actually happened, there was a photo of Jesse Marcel, Major Jesse Marcel, and he was kneeling over the debris that they said they found from this weather balloon. And he's in the video. You can see he's surprised and he's looking up at somebody, not at the camera. And the idea being he's being ordered to say this is what he found, and he's saying in his own words that's not what he found. You know, that's not the same material. The material that he said he found had some very interesting qualities. You crumple it up and it expands back out to its original form, and it had some weird writing on it and like that, some hieroglyphics and like that. You know, it just none of that holds water. But I'm giving you what we know. Okay, Major Jesse Marcel came out and said that wasn't what he found, but he was ordered to say it. Now, the new stuff that's come out, there was a computer guy. The guy was big into computers, and see, back in the 40s, there weren't computers. Or at least not like we have now. So this guy took that photo, and he flipped it over. In Jesse Marcel's hand, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, he had some file folders in his hand with some paperwork. Okay, but he had it down here, and you couldn't really see it. Well, this guy took that photo, and he enlarged it and flipped it over, so you can read what's on the paperwork. And according to him, that paperwork is talking about where the survivors of the crash were taken. Now, because of the seriousness of the situation and what the photo is about, you have to kind of assume that paperwork dealt with the crash. Now, it may not have. I mean, he may have been doing something else and they called him over to a photo thing, so we don't know. But if that paperwork dealt with the crash, those weather balloons don't carry people. So there can't be survivors of a crash for a craft that didn't have any people on it. You see what I'm saying? Now, and since the maybe 30 years after the incident, in the late 70s, witnesses started coming forward, old people. I mean, if you got a witness to talk now, he'd be innocent, 100 years old or whatever. But at the time, these people were coming forward and giving testimony. Now, this is going to sound bad, and I don't want to disparage people. I value our elderly people, but once you get to a certain age, the memory starts to go. That's humanity. There are people in there that are 90, 99, 95 years old, and they're sharp as a tack, and good on them. But enough of it happens to where you kind of got to take what they say with a grain of salt. But there were some people back in the 70s who weren't that old, who were giving testimony and giving witness affidavits and stuff. And that, to me, that carries weight. Okay, I mean, those same people are in their 100 years old now, but back then, there were people who said there were multiple crashes, people who said they had alien bodies, people who said they found live aliens, blah 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 blah. Now, this whole situation has been so muddied, and I think part of that is, well, let me get to my opinion first, and then I'll explain why I think what I think is going on. This is my opinion. Something crashed, and whatever it was, I don't think it was a weather balloon, because you wouldn't cover up a weather balloon, even a top secret one. That's just a special weather balloon, bringing it in. That would have been the end of it. But this has persisted. They actually did a report on it, a book-length report, the Roswell report. Okay, there's been tons of books written about this. Something crashed in the New Mexico desert, and out on that sheep ranch in New Mexico, and it wasn't a weather balloon. Now, was it a UFO? Maybe. Was it an alien spacecraft? Who knows? Was it an experimental Earth, American aircraft, top secret? Maybe. I don't know. But something crashed. And the military and the U.S. government did a really crappy job of covering it up. Because I think mainly because it was all new to them. They didn't know what they were doing at the time. They had never had a crash of this significance that had been reported to the newspaper. You see what I'm saying? Usually when there's a UFO crash, they keep it under wraps. Now they do. But back then, they didn't have a hell of a lot of experience with this, so I'm thinking they just screwed it up, the cover-up. I've heard reports that they went in. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard reports that if you go to the records, military records, for a week before and a week after, or for 2 weeks before and a week after the incident, might have been a week before too. Anyway, for several weeks on either end, you can't find any paperwork at all from that base. So nobody went to the motor pool to get a Jeep, to sign out a Jeep. Nobody went to the dentist. I mean, there's no paperwork at all from that base. That's my understanding. Now, that being said, anybody who's ever been in the military, when I left the military in '87, I had a stack of orders like that. The military doesn't do anything without paperwork. Okay, and in the 40s it was even worse because we didn't have computers. So if you got orders to go to the base dentist, you got a stack of papers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything was done with paperwork. It was all documented. And if there's no paperwork at all from that entire base for a week or two before and a week or two after, that tells you something. The other part of that is, because there's so much information out there, it literally muddies the water and nobody knows what did or didn't happen. I think maybe that's on purpose. If this was I don't know if it was an alien spacecraft or a human top secret aircraft or whatever, I don't know. But the fact that there's so much information out there about it tells me somebody wants all that information out there. The government can clamp a lid on just about anything. They're good at it. They're good at keeping secrets. Just look at Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. My point is, these people, my opinion is that they're putting out information contrary to what everybody else is saying, and they're giving it to qualified, good, upstanding journalists, and it's being verified by sources. So these good quality journalists who are doing good work, trying to do the right thing, are getting this information that they're now saying, oh, well, it's verified. Look, an actual document. Excuse me. And so it adds more mud to the pile, basically. You see what I'm saying? They're doing it on purpose to cloud the issue, which disinformation is an effective technique for hiding stuff, for keeping secrets. So I think that about covers it. There's some good books out there on the Roswell incident. One of my favorites is by Stanton Friedman, it's called Crash at Corona. And it's a really good book. Check it out. I've got it in there. It's kind of a puke green cover, but it's really good. It's a good book. Check it out. Again, the Navy has come out and announced that UFOs are indeed real. So maybe it really wasn't a weather balloon, and maybe it really wasn't an American top secret or an Earth military aircraft that crashed at Roswell. Maybe it really was a UFO. The Navy's announced they're real. Why not? Anyway, happy holidays, everybody. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.